Yes guys, welcome back to another video. Obviously today I'm wearing my Chelsea cap, got the 1970 FA Cup t-shirt. We're surrounded by none other than Frank Lampard number 8 for England and a couple of Chelsea shirts behind me. We're going to build my fantasy team today. I've got the Fantasy Football Premier League app. It's free and you guys can join my league. I'm going to mention the code at some point during this video, probably towards the end, so stay tuned for that one. Link to the actual Fantasy Football Premier League for you to sign up is in the description. So without any further ado, we've got 100 million, we've got 15 places in this team with 2 compulsory goalkeepers. We're going to start off at the top, and I'm going to go with 10.3% of what other people have said. Jordan Pickford, he's 5.5 million, half a million cheaper than both Alisson and Edison. Kepa is only selected by 6.7% of people. Have a feeling that is due to Chelsea's dreadful defensive displays so far this pre-season. So Jordan Pickford is my number 1 choice goalkeeper. As always with fantasy football, there's not really much point in having 2 of the most expensive goalkeepers, so we're going to go and join the 24.1% who also think Button from Brighton is a great choice. I feel a bit sorry for him really. He's probably like, oh wow, 24% of people pick me. It's because you're the cheapest one, mate. I think something that's always very difficult when it comes to fantasy teams and how you build them is whether or not you decide to go for the strikers that you think are going to be chasing for the golden boot throughout the whole season, which then leaves you a little bit bare at the back. The defence ends up being poor. And I normally am very cautious when it comes to fantasy football. I've never really put Harry Kane and Mohamed Salah in my team. I always substitute them in later on in the season when I realise I'm about 800,000th in the United Kingdom, which is just absolutely useless. I don't even think I was in the top 300k of Chelsea fans last season. I'm not very good at this. I'm just going to put a disclaimer out there. I've never been very good at fantasy football. I'm going to build my team slightly differently. I'm going to look at some of the midfielders because you've got the likes of Salah, Mane, Eriksen, Son. They're classified as midfielders on the fantasy football game. I'm going to look and build the midfield first because I think you can get so many goals from the midfield considering loads of teams play with so many wingers now. So 28.4% of people have picked Sterling, 36% have picked Mohamed Salah. I've got a funny feeling that Sadio Mane is going to be the man for Liverpool this season. I don't know why, I just think he is. So I'm going to pick Sadio Mane in my fantasy team at 11.5 mil, and I'm also going to go with Bernardo Silva, which 26.4% of people have also picked him, and I do have a feeling he's a bit of a bargain at £8 million. He had a great season last year for Manchester City, probably their unsung hero, I think. I think he may be one player of the year, I'm not sure. Let's take a look through and see who else would be a decent person to go for. Christian Pulisic for Chelsea. He's Chelsea's most expensive player this season at 7.5 million. We all know why that is. Selected by 8.3%. I think Pulisic is going to surprise a lot of people in the Premier League. He's looked very sharp in pre-season. He's very direct. He's not afraid to run at players. He's not afraid to take people on. And his thought is always to get to the byline, or if he's playing in the middle, he's always trying to get in behind the defenders. So Pulisic for me at 7.5 million could become a bargain depending on how Chelsea do this season. I'm just scrolling down the list now. James Madison, 13.4% have picked him at 7 million. Felipe Anderson, he is a very, very good player. He had a good debut season last year for West Ham. I'm going to put him in my team for 7 million, and then I think I'm going to leave one of those midfield spots open. Let's take a look at the strikers and see what prices we've got for some of these. Aguero's the top one at 12 mil. The most picked is Jimenez for Wolves. That's a very good shout. I don't think anyone can ignore that. Only 4.6% of people have picked Haller from West Ham, their new big money signing. Michy Batshuayi is in there, picked by 0.7%, bless him. Olivier Giroud is picked by more. Deulofeu, 11.6 have picked him. I'm going to put Deulofeu in my team. I think 6.5 million for him is an absolute bargain. And I think I do need to get a big striker in there. We've got some big name midfielders. Who do I trust to get me goals this season? I'm not going to go with a Chelsea striker yet, because I don't think we're going to be chasing the golden boot with either Abraham, Giroud or Batshuayi. No offence, I just don't think it's going to happen. I'm going to go with Harry Kane. I've got no Spurs players in there. I very rarely do pick Spurs players for obvious reasons. Then I'm going to go through and get some of my guarantees at the back. I'm going to pick Van Dijk. 44.8% of people have also picked Van Dijk. Let's go and take a look through some of the cheaper defenders at players that I think could score goals next season. Danilo, he's probably going to go to Juventus if Man City get Cancelo. Duffy from Brighton, he's usually pretty good at scoring goals. He scored a couple against United, I think, last year, or one. 5 million, I'm going to go for him. 5 players left. 27.5 million, so just over an average of 5 mil. So I think again I'm going to have to go for some even cheaper defenders if I want to make the most of the goal scorers in this team. Who do I want to go for? A player called Bong, Vestergaard from Southampton, Walker Peters for Spurs, 1.5% of people have picked him. Zuma's in there at 5 mil. I just don't think Chelsea are going to keep many clean sheets this season, so I think that's a bit of a waste, if I'm honest. I don't think Arsenal are going to keep many clean sheets either. Holibas, he had a very good start to the season last season. I'm going to pick him again. I think he might have another decent year for Watford. I've got 2 Watford players in there. May not be a foreshadowing for my Premier League predictions, which is, by the way, coming out next week. Let's go and have a look. 4 more positions to go. 22.5 million. I'm going to pick 1 more defender. Feel as though, where's John Stones? 5.5 mil. 2.5% have picked him. Question is he going to start every game for Manchester City? I think he might do, you know. I'm going to pick John Stones, which means we've got 17 million left. 3 players to go. I'm going to go to my striker because I'm not 100% convinced that Deulofeu is going to score that many goals. I'm looking at Marcus Rashford. If Lukaku goes to Inter Milan, which is looking highly likely, he's going to be their main man up front. There's also Mason Greenwood, who United fans are ranting and raving about. He's a bargain, you could say, at 4.5 mil. 13.8% of players have also gone for Greenwood. That could be interesting. Who do I want to go for? Do I just bulk out that midfield more? What would you guys do at this point? Let me know in the comments below. I'm not going to keep making changes. This is just first take Gonzalez from me today. Obviously, we can make substitutions as the season goes on. Iheanacho for Leicester. He's one-footed. I don't think he's going to score that many goals. I am going to pick. I don't know. I still don't know. This is hard. I might take a punt. I'm going to take a punt on West Ham's new big money signing. I'm going to pick Haller. I've got Felipe Anderson and Haller in my team. That could be a combination that works very well for West Ham next season, which means we've got £9.5 million left. Let's take a look at the midfield. There's got to be someone who's of a decent price in the midfield. Pascal Gross was a good player last season for Brighton. He's 6.5 million. That would leave us with like 3 mil left. I think we've got to go low. How much is Harvey Barnes for Leicester? Harvey Barnes for Leicester is 6 million. I've got a good feeling about Harvey Barnes, but at the same time, Ross Barkley, my boy, is the same price, which means that there's absolutely no way I can only have 1 Chelsea player in this team. I'm going to stick Ross Barkley in there at 6 mil, and I'm just going to throw any defender in that I can at 3.5 mil, which I can't. I'm 0.5 million away, which means I have to make changes. I've got no choice. I'm going to pick Reed from West Ham at 4 million. I've got 3 West Ham players in there. I've got to make a change, and I have no idea who it's going to be. Do I want to take out Haller and get a 7 mil striker, or do I take out Deulofeu and put my faith in Haller to start with Harry Kane up front, considering we've got Mane in there as well, Pulisic, who I think is going to score for Chelsea? I'm going to take out Deulofeu and take a look at a 6 mil striker. Charlie Austin, don't really think he's going to score. Benteke, is Benteke finally going to come back to his best? Probably not. The Wolves new boy, Catrone, don't think so. Joe Linton is a massive signing for Newcastle, and then there's also Glenn Murray from Brighton, who's always going to get a headed goal. Do you know what? I'm going to go with Newcastle's new boy Joe Linton as well. I think Newcastle are in a bit of a problem right now. Obviously stuff going on off the pitch. Someone's got to score the goals, otherwise they're going down. So I'm going to back Joe Linton because I don't want Newcastle to get relegated. I want to put one of my players in there. That is my team. I'm submitting it right now. George Benson has entered the league. And this is the point where on the screen right now, I'm going to be putting my fantasy football league so that you guys can go ahead and join it. I'd love to see as many of you in there as possible. As I said at the start, there will be some prizes. I don't know what they're going to be yet, but I'm probably going to do something along the lines of football shirts, FIFA 20 copies, I don't know. Something like that throughout the season is things that we could definitely do. It's free to enter, of course, so just bear with me in terms of what you guys can win. So yeah, that is my fantasy team. I'll leave it up on the screen for you right now somewhere. Let me know what you think of it in the comments down below. As I've already disclaimed earlier in this video, fantasy football is not something I'm very good at. I tend to often go more off of players that I like as opposed to players that are going to get me points. But as we saw with the script video that I did with BT Sport and David Luiz, football is unscripted, so therefore we don't exactly know what is going to happen. This team could be the winner, and George Benson might have made this video and then win fantasy football in the Premier League come May. Highly unlikely, it's not going to happen, but nonetheless, I'd love for you guys to join the league in the description down below. Thank you guys for watching. Leave a like if you enjoyed this video. Premier League season is less than a week away now. We're very excited. I will catch you all later. Bye-bye.